Today, we're watching one of the more spectacular political resets, or attempted resets, play out live. Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes, that Marjorie Taylor Greene, is trying to pivot. She's dusting off the loyalty badges, stepping into the redemption spotlight. And guess what? The timing couldn't be worse for Donald Trump. A man whose entire brand is owning the narrative now finds one of his loudest former defenders going freelance on him. I mean, let's just check out this recent interview where she just becomes a completely different person.
His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations. And I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files. And I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
You said on X yesterday, quote, "It's astonishing really how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out, and that it really makes you wonder what is in those files." Are you suggesting there's something in the Epstein files that President Trump does not want Americans to see?
Well, I think that's the part that has so many people confused, is that the women themselves that I have talked to have over and over again said that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Quite a few of them even told me they voted for him. And those are the women I would like to see in the Oval Office with support. I would like to see all of the women there with support. I have no idea what's in the files. I can't even guess, but that is the questions everyone is asking, is why fight this so hard?
Who even is this person talking right now? I, for the life of me, just cannot understand what may have happened recently to cause this woman to completely change. It's almost like a miracle happened and she saw the light. That maybe wanting to stop predators is something everyone agrees with, and it's weird that Trump doesn't care. Speaking of Trump, it should go without saying that this is just horrible for him. His whole deal is fake movement plus loyalty equals power. You're not just supporting Trump. You're part of the orbit that cannot stray. If one of the orbiters steps out, he has to relentlessly attack to weaken you. Greene stepping out says maybe the movement has a life of its own. For Trump, accountability and changing alliances equals threat, because he wants the narrative to revolve around how great he is.
And that was to, like, protect, you know, get involved. This is important. The American people want the Epstein files released. And, you know, I've stood with the president. I have disagreed with him at times, Dana, and I'm allowed to do that. I think that's the most important thing we can do as Americans. And I'm urging my party. I've been putting massive pressure on my party and our speaker to pass the agenda that the American people vote for. That's the agenda that I fought for. Those are the campaign promises I made. And I can disagree with the president at times, particularly this past Monday on the Marines' 250th anniversary, when he honored the new Syrian president, who is an al-Qaeda terrorist and was wanted by our government for years with a $10 million bounty up until March of this year. I very much am against that. I think that was very hurtful to the great men and women who served over in the Middle East and were sent there, and many of them that were killed and injured and live with PTSD to this day from fighting al-Qaeda. So there's things I disagree with, and I'm allowed to do so.
Now, Why is this terrible timing for Trump? Because the story he built of unbreakable loyalty, of movement unity, of I am the flagship now has a crack. If one of his signature defenders can walk off the deck and start swimming solo, what message does that send? It says, the brand is transferable. The movement has more life than the man. It says, maybe the marquee name isn't indispensable, and that undermines the sort of mythology that Trump thrives off.
Well, you mentioned the Syrian leader at the White House. You've also been critical of President Trump over foreign entanglements, H-1B visas. Now he's moving military assets towards Venezuela. I do want to play something that he said this week.
Don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else, and MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Do you agree? Do you think he represents the MAGA movement as he once did?
Well, what the American people voted for with MAGA was to put the American people first and stop sending foreign aid and stop being involved in foreign wars. They very much deserve to be put first. Cost of living is far too high. Health insurance is completely out of control. And those are two issues I have been very vocal on for months and months now, long before Republicans were shocked when those big losses came on this past Tuesday's election. So I think that the American people deserve to be put first. That's what Make America Great Again meant to me.
Furthermore, when you used to hold the megaphone for him, you can also leverage it against him, or at least beyond him. Greene saw a moment. She saw, hey, maybe there's a path where I'm the protagonist, not the sidekick. And in going for that path, she implicitly says, the old script is expired. So Trump's worst nightmare, seeing one of his top squad switch lanes, suddenly the narrative control shifts. Suddenly, he's not the center of everything anymore.
Congresswoman, you posted on X that President Trump is, with his comments, fueling a, quote, hotbed of threats against you. Obviously, any threats to your safety are completely unacceptable. But we have seen these kinds of attacks or criticism from the president at other people. It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism. And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country. And it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions. And I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences. Yeah. And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
So just to put a button on this, you regret the things that you have said and posted in the past, the Facebook post that was taken down of you in 2020 holding a gun alongside the squad, encouraging people to go on the offense against the socialists, liking a tweet of somebody calling for the execution of Nancy Pelosi and former President Obama. Just examples.
Well, Dana, as you know, and many people know, I addressed that back in 2021. And of course, I never want to cause any harm or anything bad for anyone. So that was addressed back then, and okay. I very much stand by my words I said then, and I stand by my words today. I think America needs to come together and end all the toxic, dangerous rhetoric and divide. And I'm leading the way with my own example, and I hope that President Trump can do the same.
Who is this version of Marjorie Taylor Greene even supposed to be? The interview feels like someone swapped her firmware version overnight. One moment, she was the megaphone of Trump-style rage politics, yelling about Democrats eating babies or whatever the conspiracy flavor of the month was. And now suddenly she's speaking like she's applying for a job at a think tank. The tone is unfamiliar. The message is weirdly polished. And the delivery? It feels like someone took the chaos energy switch on the back of her spine and slid it from 11 down to target self-checkout voice. Now, make no mistake, she only really cares about how toxic politics have become only because Trump is coming after her. The fact is, she has been that contributing loud, annoying voice and is now clutching pearls because the guy who is accused of doing some predator stuff may have associations and in some files, despite us already knowing he was friends with the guy. The tough part is that Trump is doing what he normally does, so I don't know why she is even hurt by it. This guy's known for doing this to people who disagree with him. Hell, he was still going after Thomas Massie well before she all of a sudden had this clarity. Now, I gotta give you my take on all this when it comes to Trump turning on her. It's simply what she deserves and what she gets. This guy Trump has repeatedly shown what kind of person he is. For some reason, everything else was okay until her position started looking shaky because Trump ain't hitting like he used to with voters. In the end, Marjorie Taylor Greene's redemption attempt may or may not work. For Trump, his control is being tested. Loyalty isn't what it used to be. And when someone who once kissed the ring goes independent, that ring loses shine. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, ring the bell, and tell me, do you see this redemption arc taking off or burning out? Drop a comment below.